Welcome to the Parenting Roundabout podcast for the week of June 28th, 2021. I'm Terry Morrow, and I'm here with Nicole Eridix.
Hello.
And Catherine Holecko.
Hi.
Every week, we chat about the things parents are talking about, complaining about, and obsessing about right now. This week, we are complaining about expressing our feelings and obsessing about birthday gifts. We're also taking a couple of breaks for an entertainment discussion and a recommendation roundup. Today, we're talking about the latest changes for high school and college students. We just had graduation in our town the other day, and it looked like everything was back to normal. We had a young friend of the family that graduated, and her mother posted pictures, and it looked like the usual graduation in our town. And I guess this means that we will not have the thing they did last year when they couldn't have the graduation, and they put up plastic signs with the face of each graduate on it all up and down the road going through the high school, which was really nice and sweet for a little while. And then some people came and got their signs, and then some of the signs got rained on and blown down, and then some of the signs got graffiti on them. And finally, after about a week and a half, it was looking really sad. So I will not mind not having the Walk of Forlorn Faces out my back window this year. And if they ever do it again, man, put them up for a weekend, take them down. If people want them, they can come to the office and get them, because really, after a while, it gets kind of pathetic. But it made me wonder how graduations are going with you guys. Is everything back to normal? And Catherine, does your daughter have, vengeful feelings about it, seeing everybody having their thing that she didn't get to have? I know I have a friend who had her college graduation canceled, and they gave him like a little, consolation graduation this year, but she still seems to me kind of ticked. Is she able to, is your daughter able to just celebrate good-heartedly with this year's graduates, or is she like still?
I think
nice for you.
Yeah, I mean, she's kind of over it. She's like, well, I guess good for them. It was pretty normal at her school. They did, they went back to doing it in the gym. They had it in person. But of course, everyone had to wear masks, and it was limited to like 2 people per graduate. So I'm sure a lot of younger brothers and sisters were psyched because that meant that they could not go.
Yeah.
And they live streamed it, which they have done in the past, even before the pandemic. They live streamed because of, capacity issues. Right. Last year, they did have this parade for the kids, which my daughter ended up really appreciating. And this year, they did it a little bit. Last year, it was a much longer parade that started at the school and went all the way downtown. And this year, they just did a lap around the school. So I think that was kind of like a compromise, because, I know my daughter felt last year like this should be special to us because we got to, we had to miss everything else. So she, at the time at least, was like, I don't think they should do it again. Right. And so they did it again, but they definitely, it was not as big of a deal as it was for her class. So yeah, I think that's fair. So,
right.
So yeah. And I think she's still kind of sad about prom, that she didn't get to have a prom. Yeah. And while her school, our local high school didn't have a prom this year, several other ones did. And some of them were opened up to kids from multiple schools. So, yeah. So anyway, she's a little bit mad about that.
Yeah, as is very understandable. And I still, my heart goes out to that class of high school and college students. That's rough. Yeah. But it'll be at some point it'll be a badge of honor, but it still hurts now, I imagine. Yeah. Especially since their first college year was also kind of screwed up.
Yes, very much so.
Are your daughters going back to college in the fall? Is that everything back on?
Yes.
Yeah. Mine is for the first time in a year and a half. She's excited. She because she stayed home all through, all through this past school year, even though she had the option to go back. She just felt it was best to stay home. So she did. And it was not easy. I mean, she missed out on a lot. And she, even though they had strict COVID guidelines at her university and in the area, it's still, all her friends went back and her sorority. And so she was one of the only ones that stayed behind. So that was challenging. And so she's really, really looking forward to going back. Plus, the best news of all is that Canada has lifted their 14-day quarantine rule for people who are vaccinated. So she doesn't have to hole up in a room for 2 weeks.
Well, that was like one of the reasons she didn't go back, right?
Yeah. She didn't, because she would have had to stay in a dorm room for 2 weeks straight. So I just know my daughter, that would not have been good for her mental health. So and plus she had a job here, so she chose to stay home. And so she's really excited to head back. I mean, they're doing in person. It'll be, there'll be social distancing rules, obviously, but she just wants to be back in that university mode.
Yeah,
so,
sure.
yeah, but, that means that I get to go up there too, because I'm going to help her move. So that's even more exciting for me.
Right. Traveling.
So, yay. Get to go home. I get to see my parents for the first time in almost 2 years. And I get to go and eat all the ketchup chips I want to. And Tim Hortons and all that fun stuff. So, yeah.
That sounds fun.
Yeah. And then, of course, my son, his school is, it'll be good for him because he's done this last year, medical school, pretty much online, which if you can imagine that.
Are they going back to in person?
Yeah. So they'll be back to in person, and which will be great.
I want a doctor who's been trained, not over the computer.
Yeah. I mean, they did have labs for body parts, but most of the instruction was online, and I think also lacking was that piece of working with your peers.
Yeah.
Right.
Just getting to know your peer group and developing that support system. So so he's excited to head back to some sort of normalcy in that regard.
Yeah. And your daughter's going back too, Catherine? Is ice skating back on?
Yes. Yes and yes. She'll be going back. Most everything will be in person. Her school is giving everyone who shows proof of vaccination gets a $5 Starbucks card. And they also get entered into a lottery for a scholarship. So that's kind of nice. They're using the carrot approach versus the stick. But she was already vaccinated from before, but she'll be living in a townhouse with a bunch of other girls from her team, and she's looking forward to that, and just really hoping to be able to compete this year, since they didn't get to last year. I mean, she still got to get to know her teammates, and they had some practices and things last year, but they didn't get to compete, and that's no fun.
Yeah.
So
not the same.
Definitely looking forward to being able to do that this year. And I think since the reason for not competing was a combination of U.S. figure skating rules and various state rules and guidelines about gatherings. And since it seems like most of those are lifting now, we are hopeful that she'll be able to do it. So I really hope so. I mean, I was looking forward to being able to watch the competitions, you know, after all the years of going to those competitions, it came to a screeching halt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So I'm ready to go watch. So we have reserved a U-Haul for the trip back because there's
have you?
there's a lot of furniture because you know she's moving into now it's not a dorm, it's it's an apartment. So
one of those.
Yeah. So she's got some furniture to bring, and I was afraid maybe we wouldn't be able to get a U-Haul because I know that all kinds of rental vehicles are in short supply. But we have one reserved, so let's hope we don't show up with all our stuff and get turned away. I don't know. So.
Is she taking her bed or is she getting a new?
She got a new daybed frame for she asked for it for her birthday, so she got that, and then you know we have a mattress already that we'll bring for it. So yeah, like bed, desk, chair.
Oh gosh.
She, you know, trash picked a big shelving unit from. It was just from our next door neighbors. So yeah.
Good.
And, you know, like some kitchen stuff and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, it'll be a fair amount of... Our guest bedroom right now is kind of the staging area.
The repository. I know.
I'm looking forward to getting that out.
That's funny because my... we did that when Kristen first left for UBC, and it just became the holding zone, holding cell for all of her stuff. But my son's in there now because he's back home for a few weeks, and I was like, we really need to get Josh out of there so we could just start throwing things on the bed like we did before. It just was nice to be able to put it somewhere so we could track what we were collecting, she was collecting. So yeah, for sure. We have the guest room that has all the like furniture, which is mostly in boxes still, and then we have another storage area where she kind of unloaded all her stuff from last year. So it'll be an effort. So wow.
Yep. So that's the state of college students right now, at least for our girls. And that's it for today's round 1. Tune in tomorrow for our entertainment themed round 2, and later in the week to find out what we're complaining about, obsessing about, and recommending right now. We're always interested in what you have to say, so drop us a comment on our website, our Facebook page, or Twitter, where you'll find us at Roundabout Chat.